If you guys who are in the know already, it is my birthday today, hence the naming of my video today. And I've got a birthday joke for you. What happens when you take the G away? I'll let you guys work that one out. But in all seriousness, man, every morning, if you guys follow Voltaire on YouTube, Voltaire, he's like the king of Me Too. He's always got a video on feminist hypocrisy around it. And you know, I've pretty much just had about enough of it, right? Because look, I get that there might have been some women 30 years ago who think that you know, they're not going to be believed. I just don't get. I mean, look, you know, there's some things that women don't get because they're not guys, and there's something that guys don't get because they're not women, right? And the reason that happens is because we're different. Okay, this is something feminists haven't worked out yet. So I don't get why. Look, I just want to say first and foremost, I'm not belittling anyone who's been a genuine victim of sexual assault. And by sexual assault, I don't mean being catcalled or being asked out or being touched on the knee or even being playfully smacked on the bum at some time in their life. I'm talking about like having their genitals groped. I'm talking about being forced into sex. I'm talking about some real shit here. I'm not just talking about the bullshit that you know, most people are carrying on with Me Too, right? Just so that they can be part of it. And Tony Robbins recently came under the crossfire for suggesting that anybody who uses Me Too as a way to get at people and to elevate themselves, you know, has not experienced any growth at all. And I agree with Tony Robbins, but yet somehow he's a misogynist for spitting those truth bombs. These grapes are real good. So I just think it's complete bullshit that people whose entire lives revolve around feelings and not facts. I'll give you a few moments to work out which half of the population that relates to. These people are the ones that get to subjectively decide what constitutes sexual assault, even if it doesn't. And these are the same people screeching out loud, you know, that kill all men are potential rapists, all men are violent abusers. I'm starting to get a bit of a picture painted for you guys. In case you're not working it out, I'm talking about feminists. I'm talking about the elite feminists. I'm talking about the ones that put opinion pieces in the newspapers as fact every single day. In fact, there was a lady who did an opinion piece on Tony Robbins in the Sydney Morning Herald today. And she's a 40-year-old single mum of 3 who's writing a book on navigating the dating world in your midlife. Mate, you're the last person that should be writing a book about dating. Fucking single mum, 40 years old. Dumbass. And for any women that are watching this, other than the ones I know watch it, I bet you're sitting there going, oh, you're such a misogynist. You don't even know what misogyny means. You just listen to some batshit crazy Australian Prime Minister who couldn't even last a full term, spouting it in Parliament question time, just to friggin' get at the leader of the opposition by playing the vagina card. Misogyny is the hatred of women. It is nothing else. It is not sexism. It is not discrimination. It is not a preference not to work with women for whatever logical reason that a man might have. And if a woman decides that she doesn't want to work under another woman, that's not internalized misogyny. That is called preference. And do you know why they prefer that? Because men are typically more rational. Because we have testosterone. Because we have masculinity, which actually allows us to be calm and level-headed in stressful situations. We don't have estrogen, which fuels for emotional drama and connection. Man, I'm looking fine in this sun today. So guys, let me tell you a little something about me. And before I tell you this little something about me, I'm going to preface this by letting you know that I have never hashtagged MeToo, except in parody. I've never played the victim because of this. And I've never gone around 20, 30 years later. I mean, I was only like less than 10 years ago now, but you know, you're not hearing me, you know, wanting to be all over the media and become a victim. But I had a psycho ex-girlfriend at one stage, almost 10 years back now. And even after I told her that I don't want to be with her anymore, she came over, she broke into my house, she stole my laptop. I had to go chasing after her in underwear down the street with no keys to get back into my house. She was abusing me. She was threatening me at work. She was caught, like, I used to work at the airport, right? International airport. And there was no direct line to there. So she would actually call up the head office, ask to be put through to Sydney International Airport, then asked to be put through to one of my supervisors, and then asked to be put on the phone to me because there was an emergency. She was pretending she was a family member. She was a psycho. And even after all of this, she came over and she was wanting to talk. And my housemate at the time opened the door and she barged in. And she's like, "Excuse me," and she came into my room and I was just laying there in my boxer shorts. And she goes, "Why haven't you been answering my calls? You know, who the fuck have you been with? Who are you sleeping with behind my back?" In my head, I'm like, "Bitch, we broke up already. What is it of your business?" But, you know, I was a simp back then. So I thought, you know, I just want to smooth the situation over. I don't want to just, you know, be an asshole and just boot her out. Although that's exactly what I should have done, and then I should have called the police. Should have called the police a long time before that, actually. Now, speaking of calling the police, I'm going to get back to that. And she, look, even though I didn't want to have sex with her, she knew how to physically stimulate me, so I ended up with an erection. And this got to the point, she was actually getting really aggressive. She was starting to like pinch and scratch me. And she's like, "I'm horny, I just want to have sex." So she ended up, with all her might, pushing me over onto my back, pulled my pants down, and in a moment of weakness, I just sort of lay there, and I didn't want it, but she took it anyway. And then I told her, "Get off, I'm gonna come." So she reached down and she actually grabbed onto my bum and she made me come in her. Yes, I know, Sydney, you're a fucking idiot. Should have been wearing a condom. Alright. No, I was an idiot. Yes, I know. After that, she didn't want to see me anymore. Didn't want to talk to me. About a month later, the call came. I'm pregnant. Turns out she wasn't actually pregnant. But she used that to extort over $12,000 out of me. I had to withdraw the entire balance of my credit card, borrow money from other people. I had to go 3 weeks behind in my rent by giving my rent money to her instead, just to make up that amount. she wanted even more, but at the end that was all I could give her. And she goes, you know, you fucking asshole, you know, I know you've got more than that. And I was like, look, here's my bank accounts. I'm in like fucking 6 grand of debt right now because I've given everything to you. Even money that isn't mine to give. It's the bank's money. And she goes, well, you better give me more or else I'm gonna fuck you up. And I said, well, you better fuck me up then, because I'm out. Like, I'm all in and I've got nothing left. And of course nothing ever came of it. You know, I thought that I was gonna get a call 9 months later saying time for child support. Call never came. That's how I knew it was bullshit. She was doing it all just to get to me. All just to try and get me back. All just trying to get me feeling like... And you know another thing that women like that do, men? They'll tell you they're pregnant before they ovulate. Because if they're pregnant, then they can't get pregnant again, right? So you can just keep coming in them, right? But what if they're not pregnant? What if they're actually not pregnant? Because that happens a lot. And they're like, oh, it's okay, you can come in me, I'm already pregnant. Next minute, actually pregnant. Then you're really fucked. So don't give me this bullshit about Me Too because someone touched you on the fucking leg. Because I know what Me Too's all about. I got royally fucked by a Me Too moment. This is the first time I publicly shared this. In fact, this channel is the first time I publicly shared a lot of stuff. Because it's important that you guys actually know what really goes on. Man, these grapes are amazing. So when you hear people saying Me Too's gone too far, hell yeah, it's gone too far. Oh, Me Too because I didn't get a job that a man got. Me Too because someone brushed my leg. Me Too because someone fucking looked at me the wrong way in the fruit aisle of the supermarket. Go fuck yourself. It's people like you bullshit artists that take away from the real victims. That take away from people that actually, genuinely are victims. Serious victims. Oh, that's a good one. Hashtag not me. Might even be able to get that trending. Because we are not victims, right? Even if we're victims, we're only a victim if we allow ourselves to be the victim. Victimhood has become almost fashionable these days. Like, what's up with that? Seriously? R2D2 just said that the Me Too movement will wake up more men than all the MGTOW channels put together. You're damn right about that. Sadly, I think it's going to be too late, though. You know, it's just interesting, right? Because... oh, I had an idea. Marcel Harding in the house. How you doing, my man? If you guys haven't checked out Marcel Harding, go and check out Marcel Harding's channel. So, just interesting where things go from here. And I was thinking to myself, right? Because there was on Voltaire's channel, and I mention Voltaire a lot, but he's just such a cool guy, and he's just got so many good videos. No wonder he's got so many damn subscribers. He eclipses my subscriber numbers. Speaking of that, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell below. Share these videos with friends that need to know about what is in them. And smash that thumbs up so we can get this trending. Thank you in advance, man. So, I don't know, guys. Where do you think we go from here? Because there was a hairdresser on Voltaire's channel, that's where I was going with that. A male hairdresser, basically a men's barber. And a woman brought her daughter in there for a haircut. And he said, look, you know, I'm not trained to cut women's hair, so I can't do it. What up, retro fan? So I'm not trained to cut women's hair, so I can't do it, you know? And then the woman like loses her shit, right? The mother of the daughter. I'm guessing a single mum. It was in an affluent suburb. So I'm also going to guess that it was a divorcee who got a nice settlement. Ooh. You know what I reckon? I reckon I should go pay him a visit and tell all you men to go and visit him, because he's actually worried about how this is going to impact his business. Because this woman took him to the Australian Human Rights Commission for discrimination against her daughter. He said, oh, my daughter was so embarrassed by being told that he won't cut her hair. I'll tell you what your daughter would have been embarrassed by. Him fucking up your daughter's hair. Then you would have been complaining even more. Then you would have ruined his business even more. What happens when you take the G away, men? So, yeah, MGTOW, Australian Human Rights Commission, exactly. So what I'm actually thinking, right, is exactly, Elvin Goal. Grape. So I'm actually thinking that I'm gonna go and find all the women only things, right? So like all the women only gyms, all the women only shelters, or everything that's basically women only, right? I'm gonna find everything that's completely exclusive to women, that don't hire men, that don't allow men in, that don't make any accommodations in any way for men. I'm gonna stop, and I'm gonna start flooding the Human Rights Commission with letters. What you gonna do, motherfuckers? And I may even, guys, if there's any of you who are good with setting up a website, I've got my domain name. I've just got to set up some hosting and a website. Would love to get your help. Because what I actually want to do is start a section called Women's Only, right? And write emails and private messages to these places asking if men are allowed and getting their responses, and saying, do you employ men there, and getting their responses. Gaining a dossier of places that are completely excluding men. And then I'll go to the Human Rights Commission and I'll complain they're excluding people on the basis of their gender. Now, shit, man, I only got 2 left. That sucks. Smash the thumbs up, guys. We got 20 in the box. Only half of those thumbs up. 21 in the box. My apologies. Good to see you guys. So, there's actually a particular provision in the Discrimination Act in Australia that allows for disadvantaged groups or minorities to have positive discrimination in place to basically help them to get a leg up. Now, what exactly is it that constitutes disadvantaged, I ask? Well, I would say that something that constitutes disadvantaged is a group of people who get the raw end of the stick when it comes to custody. Group of people that are the victims of suicide more often. Group of people that don't live as long. Group of people that are failing at school. Group of people that are underrepresented in university. Group of people that don't have any affirmative action programs to favor them in any way, shape or form, even though they represent half of the population, and the other half of the population have affirmative action programs as far as the eye can see. What else constitutes disadvantaged? I don't know, maybe a demographic that gets paid less superannuation or less retirement fund money by big companies just because they don't have a vagina. In case you're wondering what I'm talking about there, ANZ Bank Australia and Vodafone Australia also pay women more superannuation to make up for the wage gap. The Defence Force has got a women-only recruitment drive pushing for more women. So that's Australian Navy, Australian Army, Australian Air Force, Australian Federal Police, bunch of Australian government. Aussie Drama said, Sydney, when my daughter got cancer, we had to move city to Brisbane. Sorry to hear that, brother. Hope your daughter's doing okay. Oh, here we go. Aussie Drama, Sydney, when my daughter got cancer, we had to move city to Brisbane. My partner got accommodation free for 18 months. I was left homeless in a foreign city. Fucking hell. Unbelievable. And you know, his partner got free accommodation for 18 months because she has a vagina and he got nothing. This is what we've come to, men. Where men are to blame for everything and get no advantages. Women aren't to blame for anything and get all the advantages. Even though most of the problems that are happening are being caused by that. Marcel Harding asked, see any homeless women out there? I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked that. And I'm going to answer that in a second. Aussie Drama says, I had to live in parks and with others on the internet. Lost my job. No accommodation place would offer me anything. Standard for men. Thank you, Lakefront Journal, for the happy birthday wishes, and thank you to everyone else who's wished me a happy birthday today as well. I really appreciate that. So yeah, Marcel Harding, in response to the homeless women question, there was, I believe, 25% of the homeless in Australia are women, and most of those have been offered refuge by women-only shelters. And because if you're homeless, right, it just means you don't have a home. It doesn't mean you don't have a roof over your head, right? So 25% of homeless in Australia are women. But I love the way that instead of saying, you know, we have X amount of homeless in Australia, it says 1 in every 4 homeless people is a woman. You know what I mean? Just how it is. Thank you very much, Aussie Manly Men. I appreciate you. Yeah, it is all true, Aussie Drama. Exactly. So, yeah, look, guys, I'm going to be upping the ante this year. I really do need your support in order to be able to do this, because it does cost money to send mail. I'm going to be sending a shitload of mail this year. I'm going to be sending a shitload of correspondence, and I've got to send it registered so I know it's been signed for, right? And I can track everything so that I can prove that it's been received. Right? It's not cheap. So guys, if you do have a couple of dollars you can spare, even if it's $1 or $2 a month or $5 a month, jump onto my Patreon. It goes to what I call the Fighting Fund, and I still to this day have not dipped a single finger. I have not even dipped my finger in there, not even for 1 cent. And I've always stayed true to my word that that money is for you guys to fight this battle. So if you can afford to donate just a tiny bit each month, even if it's only $1 or $2 or $5, whatever you can spare, man, I would definitely be bringing the heat this year, because we have to do something. We have to do something now. And all it will take is for one country in the Western world to change, and everyone else will stand up and take notice, because that sets the precedent. Alright, because I'm sick of this MGTOW bullshit. I'm sick of this feminazi gender quotas. I'm sick of this whole victim narrative. I'm sick of being treated like shit just because I'm a man. I'm sick of getting less opportunities because I have a dick between my legs. I'm sick of getting paid less super. Aussie manly man, I said no to my boss when he told me to go home early. That's right. Guess what? I stayed full time. Stayed the whole day. No way I was going home early. I said, no, you're not sending me home early. It's my birthday. And he goes, oh, your birthday. I go, yes. I said, so no, I'm not going home early. So yeah, I said it twice. Oh, interesting. I've just got a Lakefront Journal's just flicked me some info for a story. Got the weird story of the day for you. It has a MGTOW angle. Look up Rowena Cheryl Miller. She was taken into custody in West Virginia. She was covered with blood and asked the police to let her go and get her heads. The police found her boyfriend's decapitated body. Yeah. Christian, you're right. Men wanting to get married, but they look like they're being forced. They are being forced. Right? You think any man's going to want to go out and spend thousands of dollars on a ring that doesn't even go on his finger? Think any man's going to actively be excited about the prospect of spending 50 to 80 grand on a wedding and then legally binding himself to being financially responsible for somebody else? Really? I mean, you know that's not going to happen, right? You know it's not going to happen. Just the way it is. So, yeah, guys. Just some real talk for y'all. Oh, thank you, Marcel Harding, for the $5 via PayPal. Appreciate you, guys. If any of you can spare that money, like, here's the thing, guys. It costs. I mean, $5 will probably send 1.5 letters by registered post. It's a long fight. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of dedication on my part. But I'm doing it for you guys, because it really matters to me that the sons of tomorrow are able to grow up, you know, in an egalitarian society where both women and men have equal opportunities, not where men have less opportunities than women because they don't have a vagina. Right? We've got to destroy this feminist narrative. We've got to get the facts into the hands of the people that legislate, because they are the only people who can stop this bullshit. I even wanted to. I want to try and get some airtime in some newspapers and whatnot. I'm going to be writing to editors and seeing if I can get some opinion pieces put in there. I'm gonna go with an angle that explains, and some of you guys may not get why I'm coming from this angle, but I have to come from an angle where it looks like the only way that women are going to have to come from an angle where it sounds like, and also it's accurate, that women understand that what they're doing to men is disadvantaging them. Right? Because it's actually to women's detriment if they continue to do what they're doing. If they continue allowing the feminist elite to dictate what's going on. Right? That's exactly what's going to happen. Right? Things are just going to get destroyed. Things are going to get ruined. But what's very interesting, guys, and tell me what you think about this in the comments. What's very interesting to me is that we've had the whole women's lib movement going for so long now. We've had the whole women's lib movement going on for so long now. You know, the whole, you know, you can be a single mother, that's okay, no fault divorce. But what's starting to happen now is we're starting to get 20 to 40-year-olds that grew up without a father. Starting to get 20 to 40-year-olds who grew up with a narcissistic mother. Starting to get 20 to 40-year-olds who got abused by the stepdads or boyfriends that the mother was bringing into the home. And you know what kids have realized? Kids that have grown up into adults, they've realized that it sucks growing up in a single mother family household. Compared to what it could have been like to have both their parents around. They've realized that it sucks growing up raised by a narcissist. They've realized that it sucks growing up thinking that their father hated them and then finding out later that was a lie. A lie that was perpetuated so the mother could gain advantage financially, socially, in court. Elven Girl, I'm glad you said that, Elven Girl. Society's being destroyed by women not supporting men. Feminists have been trying to take all benefits from society without giving back. That's exactly right. And you know, I think a lot when I'm at work, right? Because I've got a fairly menial job at the moment. It's pretty easy, so I just basically just, you know, smash it out. I don't really need to think too much, so my mind's just going a million miles an hour, right? Because none of my brain power is going into my actual job. Oh, Brizzy boy, thank you so much. You know what? And you guys are so generous. Like, I'm actually, I just don't know what to say. Like, I'm super humbled that you guys are being so kind and generous and helping out with both my trip at the end of the year and also with what I'm working towards for you guys, right? To change Australia for the better. I appreciate that so much. And Aussie Manlyman just said female depression's at an all-time low. Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. And what I was actually thinking today, while my mind was running a million miles an hour and I was just like, just chilling, just working away, right? Was that, you know, we have this whole push for, you know, oh, more women in the boardroom, more women as CEOs, more women leaders, more women managers, more women, right? But what women don't get is that, yes, there's more men at the top, but there's also way more men at the bottom. Cleaners, right? We've got people cleaning, we've got people collecting trolleys, we've got people working in warehouses doing menial jobs that gives them, you know, RSI, that gives them, you know, injury from being bent over for 30 years. Just focusing on the same shit, right? They damage their eyes, they got industrial deafness. Right? So what women don't get is that men don't do these jobs so they can have power. They do it so that they can be accountable and responsible, right? So these men work to the top, most of them, so that they can actually provide for their family, so that they can actually provide a service. Right, so like, let's say, for example, you're the CEO of a company. You're not sitting there wielding, you know, this shield of power going, oh, look how powerful I am. You're sitting there going, I have a responsibility to the 350,000 people that work for my organization. I have a responsibility to them. I don't have power over them. I have an obligation. I have an obligation to my family. I have an obligation to society. Women get into these roles and they say, oh, look, finally I made it to the top. Look, I can do what a man can. Now it's time to fuck up the company because I don't know what I'm doing, because I got here because of affirmative action. And I got into this role for all the wrong reasons. And then there's affirmative action to make more of this bullshit. Are you serious? Like, don't get me wrong. I know that there's some women that are in these positions, right? And I'd say they're in the minority when we're talking CEOs, that are there because they actually have a deep sense of purpose, because they have a deep sense of responsibility to the shareholders and stakeholders and employees of the business and the people that that business supports by way of providing services, right? No doubt there's some women for sure that have that mindset. But I would say as a proportion of CEOs and top level leaders, that's in the minority. All right. It's just how it is. And I really appreciate Aussie Drama that you just said that there's so many things that you've been through but never been able to put into words, and then I'm able to articulate it. It's because I've been through a lot of the same things too. So I appreciate you saying that. Thank you very much, brother. Christian says, I see it at work. Guys saying I have to make overtime, have to pay for the wedding. And I'm like, what the fuck? You don't have to. He's not thinking what's ahead of them. One day that woman will take half of his pension, retirement funds, and half of his shit that he earned, risking his life every day. This is beyond me. I don't get why guys still do it. And guys, I actually got a comment that was in one of my videos. Because as a YouTube creator, I get to, like there's actually a comment section in my creator app, and I get to actually go back through all that. For any of you guys who are content creators, you'll actually know what I'm talking about. One of the comments I got was that a guy said, you know, he, for about 20 years, he lived with women, and he never had more than $1,000 in the bank. And now that he's MGTOW, he owns his own house, and he's got so many assets. Oh, I thought it was my buddy for a second. He's got so many assets, and he's got a business, and he's just killing it. And I was like, man, you know what? It's so rare that there are women out there that will actually support their men in their pursuits. It's almost impossible to find. And even when you find it, there's caveats, right? So you got to work out whether you're prepared to put up with those caveats or not. Right? Sometimes they're minimal, small caveats. Sometimes they're big caveats. I don't know what else to say, guys. The Australia's fucked if it keeps going this way. Then we've got Turnbull, our Prime Minister, who calls himself a feminist. It's like, if you're really a feminist, you're a fuckwit. And he is a fuckwit, so I guess he probably is a bit of a feminist. You know, and this is the thing, right? People are just listening to words they've heard out somewhere in the world, and then they just take on a whole new meaning, right? So the whole Julia Gillard speech, he goes, I will not be lectured on misogyny by this man. And it's like, you don't even know what misogyny means, you idiot. You're meant to be the Prime Minister of the country. You're meant to be being a professional. Or professional. Sorry, I thought it was Kiwi for a second there. You're meant to be being professional. Right? But all you want to do is complaining about men, right? And then you roll back shared parenting laws. You vile bitch. Fuck you. The amount of heartache and torture you've put children and men through. You'll never ever be forgiven for that, Julia Gillard. Brizzy Boy says he saw a story about the gender gap in cryptocurrency now by feminists. Yeah, exactly. Because it's patriarchy, right? Patriarchy made cryptocurrency so difficult. Well, guess what? It wasn't easy for me to work out cryptocurrency either. But I got off my fat ass, I stopped watching Married at First Sight, and I learned shit. I researched. I did trial and error. I worked it out for myself. I wasn't fucking around wasting my time talking about bullshit on Facebook, playing fucking Candy Crush Saga and Farmville and like sitting there going, oh, hashtag me too. No, fuck off. Right? If you are abused, go to the police. If you're not abused enough to go to the police, shut your fucking mouth. Because it's not abuse. It's part of life. Men go through it, women go through it. It's how you react to it that makes you stronger. And men, it's how you react to things that make you stronger. You better believe that I've been through some real shit. I've been through a hell of a lot. Can't even begin to tell you some of the torture that I've been through in my life. But yet here I am, speaking to you men, helping you out every day. And I'm the one with 2,500 subscribers almost. But yet I'm the one, like, I got almost 2,500 subscribers, right? But yet I'm the one that's humbled by you guys. Right? And I'm the one that appreciates you guys. Not because you're giving me numbers, but because I'm able to help you guys. Like, it honestly gets me close to breaking up when I think about some of the stories that men write to me about. And yeah, Lakefront Journal says, you've heard that in Australia, a man can be arrested just for raising his voice to a woman. Yeah, so if a woman calls the police and says, oh, you know, my partner's been abusive towards me and, you know, he's raising his voice and he's really scaring me, yeah, you can get arrested. Unless the cops actually do their research and realize that you didn't raise your voice, that you're not an abusive partner, and that you're just subject to false allegations. And if you're not the subject of false allegations and you are, like, if you're constantly, like, yelling and being, like if you're yelling at a woman like this all the time, yeah, that's some scary shit, right? That's some scary shit. Like, as a woman, I can imagine that would be extremely intimidating. So I can understand why people might, you know, call the police if they're scared of someone like that. But just simply by saying, oh my God, you know, why... Like, you live next to the shopping center. Why can't you get this on your way home? You've only got a 10-minute trip home. I've got an hour-and-a-half trip home. Please help me out. That's enough to get an AVO on you. That's enough to have a woman calling up the police on you. What a load of shit. Unbelievable. Aussie Drama says, to this day, I've got about 10 to 20 stories about my ex that my ex did to use my child as a weapon. It's so shocking. I'm yet to be able to speak about it apart from 2 of my friends. I can imagine, Aussie Drama. Thank you very much, David Cook. I appreciate that. And yeah, when the juice becomes poisonous, it's not worth it. That's exactly right, Jason Sparados. And thank you for your birthday message, by the way. Appreciate that, brother. And way too many women do use the kids as weapons. Because the thing is, women don't actually see. They don't actually grasp or understand that what they're doing is weaponizing their kids against them. Like, they just actually don't get it. Like, they don't get that what they're doing by weaponizing the kids against the ex is actually hurting the kids more than it hurts the ex sometimes. Aussie Drama says, Sydney, if you raise your voice at a woman at all, what lawyer will tell you that's domestic violence? Exactly. If you tell a woman she can't have money for whatever reason, that's fiscal abuse. It's financial abuse. If you raise your voice at a woman, that's verbal abuse. If you, basically, anything can be abuse that a man can be liable for. In the UK, it's a law now. Shouting is a criminal offense. Fucking hell. You know, women know that men love their kids. But more and more and more and more and more, the media are starting to let slip about abusive, about irresponsible, about dangerous, about psychotic, about drug-addled mothers. If you say no to a woman at work for any reason, you get fired. Fuck, it wouldn't surprise me in some workplaces, Marcel. It really wouldn't, in all honesty. Unbelievable. Holy shit. Holy Blade said, I ran up to my dad to stay with him when my parents split up, but my mum took me away. Fucking bitch. Fucking mole. What a piece of shit. And more women do abuse their children than men do. Right? Feminists are all like, oh, men are abusers. Men abuse women. It's okay, yeah, and mothers abuse kids, but you're not going to open your mouth about that little gem, are you? Lying bitch. Unbelievable. Aussie Drama says, my daughter would explain clearly when I was playing with her sick in hospital that mummy says to stop hurting her and she doesn't like you. Total BS. All went to court. I was best father ever. Yeah, absolutely you were. Because any woman that tries to use their children as a weapon to manipulate, right? So basically drive a psychological wedge between a father and his kids. Any mother who does that is nothing more but than a pile of dirt. It's fucking scumbags. And Brizzy Boy says everything you just said is the reason my friend hung himself last weekend. It just hurts me so much to hear things like that. Because there are so many good men that are trying to be the best for their kids. And they're just manipulated and tortured and destroyed by these vile shitsack women. When I say vile shitsack women, I'm talking about the women who use their kids as weapons against their ex to get back at their ex. R2D2 says, mine used to attack me and I'm 2 meters tall and eventually I was the bad guy. I have a penis apparently. Yeah, exactly. If you have a penis, you're the bad guy. That's basically how the law works in the West now. And guys, my buddy Stand Up Man, and you should all go check out his book. It's $10 money back with a money back guarantee. Look in the description of this video and every other video that I have on how to get a copy of it. It is absolute gold. It will tell you everything that you need to know about handling women, about looking out for red flags. But he spoke to me today and he goes, buddy, you know, have you been keeping a record? You know, like do you have all the text messages from your ex-girlfriends and, you know, previous partners and anyone that you've been sexually involved with in the past? And I was like, well, I guess, like, haven't gone and deleted it. I haven't gone back and looked for ages, but I haven't deleted it. And he goes, buddy, make sure that you back it all up. And I was like, well, I've got my WhatsApp on auto backup to Google Drive, and I've got my text messages on auto backup as well to my Google account, and I've got two-stage authentication as well. So I don't know if you guys remember this. Wasn't too long ago there was a case where a guy was jailed for close to 2 years, and then it was discovered that the police had all the text messages in basically indicting this guy, absolving this guy of all legal responsibility and proving that she was begging him and hounding him for sex when in fact she was saying that he raped her. Right? She got found out lying with the false rape allegation. One of many. Why am I not surprised? Some bullshit false rape allegations. And yeah, so I actually realized that I've been backing up all of my text messages. Obviously, Facebook Messenger is all backed up anyway. Although, it looks like very shortly Facebook will be introducing a feature whereby you can unsend messages. Now, I hope to God that that unsend feature is only up to a certain amount of time or before it gets read. Because if you start being able to unsend messages from weeks back, then you're going to have women deleting a lot of things. Then again, men can delete stuff as well. Right, so if men say threatening things, they can delete it. Women can't do shit. Right, so Facebook wants to start playing that game. You know, two can play. But typically women are the more calculated of the two when it comes to nasty things. Right? And also screenshots, as Aussie Drama just said. Correct. Screenshots are a very good idea if you ever see anything that is incriminating or threatening. And that's not to say that you should ever use that incriminating information, unless of course you get dragged in front of a courthouse. Jesus Christ. Dave says in SA, so Dave, I'm guessing you're talking about South Australia, right? In SA, there's 23,000 allegations of domestic violence a year with only 1,000 convictions. Exactly. Guys, honestly, especially if you're dealing with a psycho woman or a woman who's very, very unpredictable, keep a diary, keep a record of everything. Turn your location reporting on your Google Maps. I know some of you guys don't like Google, but the location reporting will save your ass if they say that you were somewhere that you weren't. Or if they say that you went somewhere that you didn't. It has timestamps, it knows when you're driving, what path you took. Right, and only people with access to the account or the police can access that. So unless you're committing crimes, I think it's a very good idea to have it on. So, you know, location reporting and tracking. Download a SMS backup and restore app to your phone. Have it backed up daily or twice a week or weekly or whatever it is that you want. Also, make sure that you don't give anyone access to your Facebook Messenger. Have two-stage authentication, either by text message or authenticator app that you have on your phone that is PIN or fingerprint protected. Right? Think about if you were a woman. When you're thinking about how you're going to protect yourself, think about, okay, if I was a woman and I had this guy's password, how would I go about getting into these things, and how would I go about manipulating the data? And I want you to reverse engineer that and mitigate against it. Right? I'm talking two-stage authentication with text messages to your phone that is inaccessible by anyone but you because of fingerprint or facial recognition. Right? I'm talking automatic SMS backups. I'm talking daily or fortnightly or weekly WhatsApp backups. I'm talking keep your Facebook account on lockdown hard. Right? Passwords on your computer that are unique, that she would never have access to, even if she has passwords to anything else. She shouldn't have access to any of your passwords as it is. Right? Because the only she's gonna go through there and trying to find evidence against you to use as an excuse to break up with you if she wants to break up with you. And she's also going to use the access to it to delete critical information, which exonerates you from fault in the case of a false allegation. Right? Because guess what? Us too. We just don't cry about it all the time. Anyway, man, I'm gonna bounce for now. Guys, if you'd like to give me a birthday donation, paypal.me/sydneymgtow or patreon.com/sydneymgtow, even $1 or $2 a month's appreciated. I'm going to start this fight. I'm going to start getting these letters out to politicians. I'm going to start, sending letters of complaint into Human Rights Commission for things like women's only gyms, women's only day spas, women's only employment. Anything that's women's only, I will find it and I will put in complaints. I'm going to flood the Human Rights Commission with so many complaints about discrimination against men that they're going to give up. They're going to give up on any complaints, about men-only barbers and stuff like that, because they're going to be too busy going through all of the stuff they got to deal with from me. Right? And as I said, if any of you guys have got experience with setting up a website, I do have basic coding experience, but just would appreciate some help with linking everything up to the hosting and the domain name, so that I can put up all the women only places, put up all the different information. Yeah, exactly. Women's only business advice resource nearby Elven Girl. Would be really interested to see who funds that. Probably the government. Wouldn't be surprised at all. In fact, I'd almost put money on it. All right, guys. I'm going to go put some petrol in, and good girl for knowing better than to listen to feminists, Elven Girl. Lakefront has the best defense against false allegations of all. I'm not dating or married. Yeah, there's women's only legal services, all free, all run by feminists. Riff Magos. Man, you guys are too kind. I appreciate your PayPal and your Patreon donations. I also got Litecoin and Bitcoin if you guys want to offload some of that, if you thought you were huddled for too long. But it's been great having you guys here to do this second stream on my birthday, and share your stories and share your experiences. I always appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Peace.